Now, the law is your life, right?
It is.
So
I have a passion for justice. I admit that.
Right, and you know, a lot of people see lawyers as, you know, ambulance chasers or whatever, but this is, I mean, this is how you correct injustice. You have to approach it through the legal system.
That's a defense spin,
right?
You know, because they don't want to be sued. They rather,
exactly,
you know, pay less to women and minorities. So we don't let any of that deter us.
Right.
We have lots of people calling us. We can only help a fraction
right.
of those who call and email, and so, but we help as many people as we can. And I'm very proud of all the civil rights lawyers who are out there fighting the good fight.
Right.
We have cases in Southern California. We now have some cases in other states, and selectively. And we've gone to other states and fought the good fight and gotten very good results for our clients. Right. Discrimination, the bottom line is continuous, it's pervasive, it's widespread.
Right.
And it's deep-seated in a lot of places. And we're only going to have as many rights as we fight to win. Right. And no more. Nobody's going to give us this easily.
Now, as an attorney, the law is unmovable. You have to work within the confines of what the law actually dictates. And in some cases, the law isn't clear, right? And that's when you go to the high courts. But ultimately, in a democracy, if the law is unjust or there's a problem with the law, we have to work to change the law, and that's what that's all about.
Exactly, because in other words, there's a battle in court, but there's also
right.
a battle in the court of public opinion.
Right.
And then there's a battle in the legislatures and in Congress. Right. So we have to be fighting on all those fronts at the same time.
In order to achieve equality, when you go into the courtroom, what seem to be the biggest hurdles, the laws most in need of change to help people achieve equality?
Well, of course, I'm very concerned about the right to choose abortion.
Right.
And which has taken a bit of a back seat. And I'm very concerned about that, and domestic terrorism and the murder of doctors who are performing abortions, and what I think is a bit of intimidation of many politicians who are cowed into making a lot of compromises at the expense of women.
Yeah.
So that's a very big issue. And but I think sexual harassment is a huge issue as well. And we've got the David Letterman situation now,
right.
Where jokes are being made about sexual, women about having sex with female staffers in the workplace. So I don't think that's a laughing matter myself.
Right.
And actually, some people might be able to sue for what's going on in their workplace.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, there's so many issues for women in divorce or people living together. The issue of failure to be able to collect child support is a huge issue. All the family law issues, custody issues, battles for women, workplace issues, you name it, civil rape cases we're doing.
Right. But for those of us who are looking to pressure legislators on action, on issues or on a specific thing, to change the law or clear hurdles you may be running into as someone who has to navigate these things, what are the biggest hurdles that present themselves to you being able to seek justice?
Well, I think it's a matter of what Mother Jones said, don't agonize, organize.
Right.
And laws generally don't get changed by one person, but one person can do a lot, but then they need to form alliances with organizations that also are stakeholders in the process, and then they all have to move together to win the passage of laws. And there's an old expression, whoever loves the law or a good sausage should never watch either one being made.
Seriously, yes.
And that's true.
Right.
That's true.
Just look at the healthcare debate. That's
exactly.
mad.
The healthcare debate is a good example. So, but, it's a process, and we just have to, it's never going to move as fast as I would like it to move, because I would like us not just to have our rights tomorrow, I would like to have had them yesterday.
Right.
But it's a process, and each one has to do what each one can do in his or her own way.
Right.
But everybody has to do something if they want change.
Right.
And I think the change, that change theme is what a lot of people were inspired by in Barack Obama.
Right.
That's what they wanted, especially from the George Bush administration. They wanted the change. It's interesting because in my book, Fight Back and Win, I start out, and this was even before Barack announced his candidacy, I start out with a quote from Gandhi that you must be the change you wish to see in the world. And I'm a firm believer in that, and I try to live that.
You were a delegate at the Democratic National Convention.
Yes, I was. I was a Hillary Rodham Clinton elected delegate.
Right. How was that experience? Was it bittersweet? Had you gotten over it at that point? What was it like?
Well, it was interesting to go. When I ran to be a delegate, I promised my constituents in my congressional district that if they voted for me, I was going to go there and I was going to vote for Hillary.
Right.
And I was going to fight for Hillary, and I did exactly that.
Right.
Of course, when I went there, apparently there had been deals made behind closed doors that Hillary Clinton supporters were to be silenced, even though we were half of all the delegates.
Right.
Or maybe more than half, depending on how you counted it.
Right.
And
the whole Michigan and Florida situation.
Yeah. And so I refused to be silenced, and I engaged in several demonstrations on behalf of Hillary. Right. I thought Hillary was treated very, very poorly at that convention. It was really a scandal and a shame and really unacceptable. I mean, obviously I was going to support Barack Obama.
Right.
And I did support him after the Democratic convention. But, you know, she made history. She won more votes than any other woman ever running for a nomination for a major political party. And when they ultimately nominated her, it was to an empty house, because even the Hillary delegates, such as myself, were not told that she was going to be nominated at that time. They moved her up.
Right.
And that is completely unacceptable. They never allowed the full vote count by all the delegates so that we could be on record on how many Hillary votes there actually were for her. And, you know, I recognized she had to make her deal with Barack. Right. Because that's what they all do. Right. And I don't judge her or condemn her for that. But I made no such deals. And when they told me, okay, well, Hillary doesn't want anybody to say anything, I said, well...
Yeah, that's not your style.
You know what? I was elected by my constituents. I keep my promise when I say I'm going to go there and fight for Hillary. And that's what I did.
Have you ever considered running for higher office?
I have considered, and I have rejected it.
Why?
Because I am a civil rights attorney, and that's all I want to be. And that's more than I ever even could have hoped for.
Got it.
I'm blessed to be able to do it. And that's what I want to do. I just want to speak my conscience and help people in need. I want to help and to support other good people who run for office. We need people on the inside, and we need people on the outside.
Right.
You know, we try to light the fire under those on the inside, but we need good people on the inside as well.
Legislation is only
I know
one
who
part
I
of
am. I'm an advocate. I'm a
Right.
strong advocate. I'm a warrior. And I'm not a compromiser. Unless it's going to help my clients settle a case, then I will, if it's fair to them. Right. And only if it's fair to them. But I know who I am. That's what what I hope to be able to do for the rest of my life, and if possible from the great beyond as well.
Before we close, if any person suspects that they're being discriminated against in any way unfairly, there are a lot of people who are afraid to go to the law. They see it as a large, faceless, expensive institution. What advice do you have for them?
Fear is the weapon that keeps women and minorities in their place, and their place is basically at the bottom as a doormat for everybody else. We're going to break through that fear, just as Eleanor Roosevelt said, that a woman is like a tea bag, that she never knows how strong she is until she's in hot water.
Right. And
that's very true. So I would say to any woman or minority who believes they may have been discriminated against, go check it out with a civil rights lawyer. Many will give you some advice at no cost. Many will take your case on a contingency if it has probability of success. So know your rights, because knowing your rights, you will be empowered. And that's the first step to asserting your rights. And if you do, that can help others as well.
Maintenance of ignorance is another powerful tool.
Yes, exactly.
Keeping people in the dark, right.
And because most people never learn their rights in school, and there's a reason for that.
Right.
I mean, large corporations and even government sometimes doesn't really want people to know their rights, because then they might want to assert their rights. Right. So they're kept in ignorance, but, you know, I believe in educating people. I formerly was a teacher before I was a lawyer, and knowledge is power, and then power includes empowerment.
Right. Well,
and that will change the world.
Thanks. Well, with that, I'm afraid we have to close, but thank you so much for coming on our show.
David.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that's our program for this evening. I want to thank our guests, Lily Ledbetter and Gloria Allred, for taking the time to come on the show. Again, if you have comments or want to know more about this subject or any past programs, please feel free to contact us at ConejoDemocrats.com. That's Conejo, C-O-N-E-J-O, Democrats.com. So until next time, be safe, stay well, and keep your eye on the issues.